Hello everyone and welcome to the PokerStars Arena, hosting the Big 20 Rewind, a series of 20 tournaments celebrating 20 years of PokerStars history. And we begin at the very beginning with 2001, the year of PokerStars, the year the site was founded, and an $11 MTT, a celebration of the first ever real money multi-table tournament on Stars. Hello everyone, I'm James Hartigan, alongside me Joe Stapleton.
Hello my babies.
And Nick Walsh.
How's it going, guys?
So guys, this event, $11 buy-in with a 100K guarantee. This is a freeze-out. So we're looking at 12,037 unique players, 12,037 entries. So actual prize pool in this of 118K, just shy of 118. And a first prize of $15,000. But that does not really tell the story, because the theme of the Big 20 Rewind is added value. It's all about added prizes. The first thing to say is that the top 200 finishers, so many of the players who've already been eliminated and already cashed out, all get $55 tickets to the Big 20 finale at the start of December. But bigger than that is the prize that goes to the winner. Now, Joe, you are the human calculator, so I'd like you to do some mathematics for me here.
Go on.
A slam package is up for grabs for the winner of tonight's tournament. 9 players remain. One of them is going to walk away with the following: a 10K Scoop main event ticket, a 5K WCOOP main event ticket, an EPT package worth approximately $10,000, and a Platinum Pass to the next PSPC worth approximately $30,000. How much is that?
So sometimes when I have to do math like this, I just kind of round a little bit just for... It's almost $56,000.
$55,000 would be the correct answer, which means, Nick, the difference in prize money between the runner-up and the winner in an $11 buy-in event is $60,000.
I mean, I know when we go back and we watch these sort of like EPT retro rewind kind of things that, you know, the play is very different, but things have certainly changed since then. Somebody at PokerStars made a very strange decision when they decided to do the prize pool this way, for sure.
Well, I mean, this is just the beginning. The Big 20 Rewind running right through to the beginning of December. Tomorrow, it's all about celebrating the 20th anniversary of, well, I should say the 2002 anniversary of the creation of WCOOP. That is an event that's going to have an added prize of a round-the-world trip. 2003 will be the year of Moneymaker. 2004, the year of the EPT. Check out the lobby. Check out what's coming up over the course of the next few weeks. We're going to be streaming selected games, including tonight. So I mentioned that they played down to the final table and 9 players are coming back tonight, all now guaranteed just shy of $900 with $15K plus that slam package up top. And the chip leader coming into play tonight is someone called Mr. Mo 19 from Canada. Now, Joe, we did have a player at the PCA a few years ago called Mo the Destroyer, also from Canada. Could this just be a coincidence? Could this be the same guy?
I don't believe in coincidences, James. I'm going to say it is the same guy until someone proves me otherwise.
Well, this Mo, playing from Canada, who comes in as the significant chip leader, has a second-place finish in a half-price Sunday Million, so has already had a 6-figure score on Stars, but obviously this payday will not be insignificant to them or to any of the players. But the key thing to say, Nick, is we shouldn't just focus on the big stack. There are also plenty of short stacks at this table. The average stack is just 16 big blinds.
Yeah, that's absolutely ludicrous. And James and I were actually talking about this just before we went on. The average stack being 16 big blinds means that this should theoretically be quite quick, because there's like a lot of, well, everyone's kind of in the danger zone, so to speak, right? But I think that given the fact that there's this basically effective winner-take-all prize at the very top, you know, first place getting such a disproportionate amount of the money compared to the rest of the places, I think we are going to see people playing extremely tight, as I suppose they should, really. You know, I mean, this is kind of like if we want to break it down, it could be like an extreme ICM situation.
Counterpoint.
Could be one of those. Could be one of those final tables, Joe, where people are playing like out of a 2 big blind stack, right?
Counterpoint, it's 2002.
It could be, guys. However, I just want to remind you that sometimes folks in these events don't even know about the additional added value.
Interesting. I think if you've come this far, if you are in the top 9, if you've made it to the final table, you know, as we see an all-in on the first hand of this final table. The blinds are 100,000, 200,000, going up in 5 minutes' time, and they will go up every 20 minutes. So we are playing really short-stack poker right now. The shove is for what? Just 5 bigs. Mr. Mo folds the ace-4. And what I would say is if it is a quick final table, I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that tonight. We are acutely aware of the fact that they are playing down to the FT in the World Series of Poker main event today. And I know that many of you will want to be following Ramon on his journey towards that FT. So if we're done in 90 minutes, consider us the warm-up act for a very long night of poker entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. If Ramon makes that final table, I think you're definitely going to see me hanging around the Amazon room for that FT. That's going to be really exciting. Would love to see him bring it home again. That man is good.
I was thinking of maybe going back too to
smart.
check things out. So maybe if Ramon makes it, that'd be a good reason.
Guys,
nice.
Pop back in for a day.
It's Ramon. It's not Ramon. He's not one of the Ramones.
There's a famous band named after him, James. Of course it's Ramon.
We're saying the same thing.
Ramon Colila. Ramon.
In England, it's Ramam.
We've got the raise here from Chinaldo 9 with pocket 9s. And Ivan Master 10 has got King Jack in the small.
Yeah, I mean, counterpoint, it is 2001, and people definitely weren't as good at poker back then as they are these days. So that's another reason that maybe we'll see a little bit more speedy final table here.
Just to be clear, Nick, just because this is celebrating 2001 doesn't mean people have to play in the style of 2001. You are allowed to bring modern poker concepts, including Wayseal's theorem, to the final table of this Big 20 Rewind event.
I mean, with the stacks this size, though, I think any style is going to end up looking about the same.
All right, graphics.
We've got the pocket rockets for Ivan Master 10. The sailboats for the chip leader, and Mr. Mo 19 will open to 440,000.
Yeah, look at the amount here, guys. A little bit of a cheeky 44 raise with the 44.
Oh yeah, 4
hey,
for a
Mr.
4.
Well, we were just talking about Mr. Boxes.
Oh, aces with the flat here. I mean, look at the stacks though, guys. I mean, he's got pretty much SPR 2-ish, so he's not going to struggle to get aces all in here if he wants to. He's going to get a c-bet from the 4s when he flops the absolute boats. That's a nice flop for aces.
I mean, you gotta just call again now, right? Now that you played it this way.
Oh, you're always flatting.
Absolutely.
You're always flatting.
Absolutely.
You're always. I mean, there's just your opponent. Unless your opponent literally has ace king, which of course is extremely difficult, given that there's already 3 of them out there.
Given that
I think
blockers
you
are
just slow right
extremely
down.
real.
Yeah, absolutely real. And yeah, you just got to slow down and hope that he continues barrel. He's probably going to get 1 bet and then a slowdown, though I imagine the guy with 8 million here doesn't really have any reason to push the edge. And certainly not on a board where your opponent is just going to have tons of it, right? I mean, the flat here shouldn't be that many ace-X, really, if you're thinking about sort of like modern ranges or whatever, but certainly it's not like 4s is going to, it needs protection or something like that. If you get to shut him with 4s and win, you know, he might have king-queen or something like that, but for the most part, he's just going to have a piece when he flats and then flats the flop. Okay.
I think you got to check back here because of the straight flush coming in.
I mean, this is a classic Le Chiffre versus Bond board, right? Ace-6 versus straight flush.
Absolutely. Just bet like 400,000 and just pray.
1 chip.
I mean, actually, he could probably go bigger, right? Like if Mr. Mo has like kings or queens or something like that, he could probably still get one call for a larger size, maybe like 900,000. I'm banking. Okay,
So
yeah,
roughly
seems good.
half pot, 1.1 million in the fold from Mr. Mo. So Ivan up over 4 million. Blinds up in 1 minute, putting pressure on the super short stacks at this final table. First player out, nearly $900. The winner, 15K in cash plus that slam package, which we just calculated is worth around 55,000 US dollars.
I mean, that's really, really awful, especially for Bolt here. Next player out, $900.
Yeah, I mean,
60,
the question here is
70K value.
How
first.
much is Bolt going to lose? This, you'd hope, would not be a go-broke situation because of those super short stacks.
Yeah, I mean, SPR is like 3 here, so it's like you're gonna do a chunk when you got top air in this scenario. Now, I was gonna say, back in the day, players with Queen Jack would always check raise this board because gotta protect top pair, yada yada yada.
2001.
And sure enough, there you go. 2001 decides to go for the check raise. It would be pretty cool. I realize it's a big ask for the production team, but I'm not even sure I know what the table theme would look like in 2001. Was it kind of still like a beach or whatever
it was?
Or was
green.
Yeah, it was
okay,
the golden
just
green
golden
with the italicized logo on the table.
Was the beach Paradise? What was it called? Paradise? What was it called? What was the beach theme?
I believe it was Paradise Poker. Yeah,
that was Paradise.
Paradise Poker or something like that. Yeah.
So Bolt has to think about whether to call all in. Has Chinaldo got a little bit greedy here on the turn, Nick?
I mean, like I said, I think I kind of have to I think you have to sort of rewind to sort of the mentality of 2001, and I think that usually, I mean, this was the time when you had top pair, you raised super hard, and then you just assumed he had a flush draw, and you absolutely didn't want him to see that river, so you just bang it in, right? Despite the fact he has the Queen of Diamonds in his hand, which changes things pretty significantly. I think it's less to do with greed and more to do with everyone's absolute fear of being rivered in 2001. Which, of course, doesn't exist these days. Just kidding.
I do love the fact that
Good fold.
Nick genuinely is implying that these people should be playing like it is 2001. It's almost like we should have put it in the T's and C's. Our judges will be watching the final table, and you have to do at least one 2001 type thing in order to be eligible for the prize.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even know what a 2001 type thing is, right? Like, I didn't even get into the game really until like 04, 05. So, I mean, I guess if they really wanted to make it 2001, they just banned the check raise.
Exactly. Put a sign on the wall. No check raising.
You get like an email from support that they suspect you're angle shooting. If you check raise.
You get a little notification.
Yeah. Good note from K. Meisel here. A 2001 type thing is mucking queens when someone 4-bets.
Yeah,
I don't know that. I'm more like a 3-bet. If you get re-raised, it's obviously going to be aces or kings. Well, we've got an all-in here. Ace-queen against ace-8, and ace-8 holds. It was domination rotation in Mr. Mo's favor, and we have our first elimination from the final table. It is XPY Oast, who's Oaster here. And we are down to 8.
XPY Oast is now XXPY Oast.
And Mr. Mo's chip advantage just got bigger, closing in on the 10 million mark. Chinaldo 9 from Ireland is the second biggest stack with 5.6 million.
King 10, all in here, seems pretty reasonable. There's really no other way to play this hand in this position, I don't think. Way too strong. You're a little bit too short to do anything otherwise, I think. Yeah, seems good. Blind v blind. Ace-Jack definitely going to get involved here, going for the old click.
Yeah, so the blinds went up to 150,000, 300,000. As just referenced, they will be going up every 20 minutes until we are down to a winner.
What a terrible spot for Gahasher here.
Yeah, pretty gross. It's going to cost him his tournament life here for sure. Only 300K more to call. Obviously can't fold anything.
And the jack kicker is not a factor. That is a chop pot, and you know what they say?
Everyone loves a chop pot.
I didn't overthink 5 out of 10. Yikes.
I think the score should be adjusted because we also had the graphic and the jingle, so I think we deserve a couple of extra points.
We're getting some 6s and 7s out there.
Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad.
9. We got our little hat tip from Poker News at the World Series over the weekend.
Oh, we've got Jack 5 all in here. I don't think Ivan Master will be calling this with Queen 9. What did they do, Joe?
Too much.
There was just someone at a table did the It's Always Coming 7 and made it into the Poker News updates. Someone sent it to us over the weekend.
Yes, indeed. There was a guy in day 5 who was hilarious. He was so amped up about making day 5. Anytime anything happened at a table, he was fist bumping everybody, going hell yeah, clapping as loud as he possibly could. Who do you think busted first on day 5?
Oh,
I know, and I don't mean that in a mean way because he was bringing like a lot of really good energy to the conversation. It was to the tables. It was cool. He definitely made the atmosphere a little bit more lighthearted.
Really cool is, I used to accept every Facebook friend.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry to interrupt. I think this is going to be a call because this is so short. This is fewer than 3 big blinds. So 9-4 makes the call, and there is a 9 on the flop.
Ooh.
Clubs are a factor, and that ace as well will give Gasher the win. So he doubles up to 1.9 million, and we are still 8-handed.
So I've got a lot of, poker fans who are my Facebook friends, people I don't know very well, but, we've been connected on Facebook for years. And of the players who are remaining, there's still like 3 or 4 people who I'm seeing their chip updates from the main event, like people that I've just sort of been connected to on Facebook. There's like a bunch of people that I know sort of who are still left in, which is really cool to watch their journey and see how excited they are.
Friendship
It
is
should make
tragic,
it easier to get him as a podcast guest if we want.
In celebration of 2001, shouldn't you be lowering the resolution and broadcasting this in 4:3 ratio? Resolution is one thing. By 2001, certainly in Europe, TV transmissions had already advanced to 16:9 as part of the EU's 16:9 action plan. I think, Joe, that in America, you only went 16:9 when you went high def, whereas we went 16:9 standard def before high definition came about.
Yep, pretty much anything good started in England. Let's be honest, guys.
All right, take it easy. Well, America started in England, so I guess you can call it that too.
Only joshing. No, that's funny. I'm so. Of course, James knows the exact year that the definition changed in the United Kingdom. I love that.
Well, Mr. Mo, by the way, has moved up to nearly 12 million. Chinaldo, the second biggest stack, has 4.5 million. So this is the Mr. Mo show right now.
Whole lot of nothing here in the blinds, you guys. 9 deuce off. Probably not a hand you want to play. Gasher is going to hold out for a better hand, I imagine, too. So folds all around. All right. King 4, probably a fold. Queen deuce off again, probably going to get away as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing a situation in the very near future where Hang Him High is literally forced all in from one of the 2 blinds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can still afford to fold 4-3 off because statistically you're definitely going to find a better hand next hand. But with 300,000 of his stack going in, he's got more than half of his stack in the middle. You really shouldn't be letting go of anything, even at this late stage. The only circumstances where you might want to actually fold the extra, whatever it is, 221,296 chips is in the event that you see a whole bunch of other players go all in particular some of the big stacks, because you still have the opportunity to ladder. It's a guaranteed ladder, basically, if you can find yourself in one of those spots. which is the same reason why we do see players occasionally raising all but one chip or all but 500 chips or whatever for those very, very, very rare circumstances where you can justifiably get away after investing such a large portion of your stack.
Man, what a frustrating flop this is for 6-9.
Yeah, a little bit of hope.
Still
With
got
the
it.
gut shot and backdoor diamonds makes the bet, gets the fold. Okay, so this is a situation where hang him high could be all in, and looking at the hands, it could be blind v blind. I imagine with a king, Duxo will just shove.
Yeah, Duxo is a shove here every day. No problem at all.
Well, king high's ahead for now, and it's a king high flop.
Ooh.
Straight draw for hang him high. Doesn't get there, and that is another KO, our second elimination from this final table. Hang him high, cashing out in 8th place for nearly $1,300, taking us down to 7 players. You've all now locked up $1,800.
Yeah, K-Mice in the chat says suited connectors with 2 big blind. Let's go. Actually, 8-9 suited. Yeah, he's right. Like finding 8-9 suited in the big blind there is, aside from finding an absolute monster, it's a hand that does really well against a wide range of hands. So that's definitely not the worst find there. Blind v blind, and it's heads up as well. It's really frustrating when you're in that position. You see a whole bunch of action in front of you because you know that your equity is going to reduce so significantly. But blind v blind, obviously king 4 always a shove at that effective stack depth. And then, 8-9 is about as good as he gets. You're basically coin flipping against the king high there. So, GG's, Busto.
Obviously, Joe and I spent a lot of time talking about Casino Royale in recent weeks. We know that 7-5 suited, specifically 7-5 of spades, is the bond. Ace-6 offsuit is the Le Chiffre. And that is what our Russian friend has here.
Just decides to fold. He is extremely, extremely shallow here, just waiting for a better spot. That's actually a really interesting one. I mean, probably theoretically you're still supposed to peel, but I definitely understand why he decided he just didn't want to be involved in that spot. A6 off is a really, really ugly hand to play post-flop, so really it does probably better as a push than anything else, so I don't blame him for getting away. It's very difficult to play those ones perfectly.
All in with Jack 10. So Chinaldo, playing from the Republic of Ireland, is a micro stakes player. Their best result to date was in the Micro Millions main event earlier this year, Nick. 15th place for $1,500. So has already surpassed that, guaranteed a 7th place finish and $1,800.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I don't think that shove is really what you want to be doing in that scenario. That seems like quote unquote ICM suicide to me. There are a lot of short stacks here. You've got them covered by a very significant amount.
Here we go.
Now, if it was blind v blind, oops, sorry guys.
Yeah.
Ooh, diamonds.
Diamonds were a factor, but Gasha doesn't get there, and that is another elimination as we lose Gasha in 7th place. That's the player who cashes for $1,800. Now we are down to 6.
Speedy, yeah. But that Jack 10 shove, I think, when you're covering so many players and you're shoving into the biggest stack who has you covered, I think you just min raise that or make that 2.5 or something like that, probably 2.2, and then you can fold and get away from it and you can ladder. But just shipping that into the biggest stack there, I think, is a pretty sizable mistake. If you were blind v blind against the short stack, you could do it all day long. We've got another all in, Nick.
Sorry, Bolt has shoved here with King 9 for their last 1.3 million. There is an isolation race from Borth, who's ahead with Ace High. Ace High is holding, still good. Holds, and Bolt's eliminated, and we're down to 5. Another KO as Bolt cashes out in 6th place for $2,600. Now everyone's locked up $3,700. But we're still not seeing any great consolidation in the stacks here. Borth, Ivan, Duxo, Chinaldo, they're all still short.
There was nothing to consolidate.
Yeah, this is going pretty quick.
Oh, baby.
Big flop. Jack 3 of diamonds, feeling good.
Man, I would really, really, really love to continue missing straights at this point if I was Duxo.
Yeah.
Now would be a bad time to finally start making straight draws.
I mean, Duxo might just get away on the flop, though, without a diamond in his hand, though. It's like, I think the call is fine, but it's one of those spots where you're probably calling to try and effectively bluff most frequently on later streets because, a lot of people will just stab once at the monotone board. But against two barrels, I think you know you're probably not going to be any good. Yeah, seems good. But it's just interesting to indicate that the float there is probably more frequently going to win when you bluff on a later street as opposed to actually completing your straight. If he completes the straight, though, Joe's right. It's going to be very, very difficult to get away.
Let's just run through the nationalities of the 5 remaining players very quickly before we lose someone else. We've got 2 players from South America at this final table. Duxo93, who is the shortest stack right now, is playing from Brazil. And Ivan Master 10 is playing from Venezuela. Ivan from Venezuela.
Wait, Ivan? Ivan from Venezuela?
See, again, I don't think this is the shove. It's going to be fine in a vacuum.
Could we have Mo the Destroyer and the ultimate angle shooter at the final table of this $11 Big 20 Rewind event?
Pretty sick.
Mo the Destroyer.
I mentioned that Chinaldo9 is from Ireland, Borf1 is playing from Finland, and Mr. Mo 19 is from Canada.
Nice one, Bolf.
Okay. This could go either way. King 5 could be a raise or a flat. He is up against one of the bigger stacks. But I think it's probably about 50-50.
Mo.
Nice try, Mo.
Mo money, Mo problems.
Well,
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna barrel at this board with King High, I think you're probably better off just raising it pre-flop, right? You know, you've got that blocker in your hand. You can take it down pre, and obviously with the final table dynamic and that super top-heavy payout, I think probably just raising this pre does better.
That's such a gross river.
Unless you river the 7, of course.
Mo with the straight wins the pot.
Nice hand, Mo the Destroyer.
Yeah, should point out,
just
we don't know if this is Mo the Destroyer, nor do we know if Ivan Master X is even Freitas.
Mo a Destroyer.
It is
you
a
may
destroyer
not be
called
Destroyer.
Yes. That is true.
Your name is Mo, you're a Destroyer. Yeah.
Crucially, if you are Canadian and called Mo.
Oh, he could rip these 6s. That would be pretty beautiful. Just folds, interesting. Okay. I do not mind just ripping those 6s all in there or putting in a sizable raise and maybe folding to like a cold 4-bet behind or something, but that's definitely a spot where you could definitely pick up some chips on this final.
So Ivan opening on the button with ace-8. Chinaldo calls with king 10, and it is a 10-high flop. Pair of 8s for Ivan. All clubs, a very crunchy board. You could even say that this is a street flash board.
You could say that. Now we have to pay Maria and Griffin for the day.
Oh no, I don't know if they've read the small print in their contracts, but basically we own them now. We own their image rights. We can basically sell Grafton's beard as an NFT, and he doesn't get a penny of it.
He doesn't need it.
Love that.
Man, these are the spots that really, oh my goodness, trip 10s on the river. These are the spots, these little squeakers like this, where you're just like barely pipped by your opponent. You're kind of in no man's land, and then you're like, man, that was just half my stack.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at these lower stack depths, there's definitely value in betting that kind of a flop with the ace-8. There's definitely some value in checking, but I mean, I think as you get shallower, you do find a lot more checking, just like sort of pot control situations where you've got like medium strength hands on dangerous boards, just so you avoid building that pot where it's going to cost you half your stack at this very, very crucial stage of the tournament.
Dangerous Boards is my favorite Michelle Pfeiffer movie.
Oh, Mr. Mo with the spraggy ace-7 offsuit. PSR 1973 says, where does the bidding for a picture of Grafton's beard start? Unfortunately, I've just heard that Jonathan Little has beaten us to it and is currently auctioning a picture of Sam Grafton's facial hair.
Oh, my. Oh, very nice, very nice. Ace-4 suited, come on.
Come on, Bull.
Come on, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. I think you probably should be folding here on a final table.
I think
but
it's a fold. Yeah.
it's very tempting, obviously. But I think you're probably just going to get into a lot of trouble. I don't think he's going to be ripping here too light.
You play that trash?
You play that trash. That's why you shouldn't play weak aces.
Ah. Is that nominated for something?
It is.
I hope so. That's my favorite for sure.
Best rub down?
I believe.
Sickest accidental rub down.
I believe it might be in the sickest cooler category.
Oh, there must be better.
Right.
There must be crazier coolers. What about? Oh, I guess that one wouldn't be included. That might have been a WSOP thing. The one where the guy has quads versus the
Generally
royal.
don't include hands from other events, Nick. You know, it's 20 years of PokerStars history.
I know.
And one sick World Series of Poker hand.
Okay, blinds now
was two
200,000, 400,000. Good luck, all-in players.
Good luck, Mr. Mo.
Just an honorable mention. All right, Mr. Mo, blinds are up. I think you can just ship this too. I think you should just be banging this. It's the rate, or raise whatever. That's fine too. But I think that at this stage with that big stack, you can apply so much pressure, and it's pretty damn close to just the play you're supposed to make, regardless in a vacuum.
Oh, I know mean to raise.
He's nominated as well, by the way. He's nominated for Best Actor for his performance
Cancelled.
at the final table in Madrid.
No speaky.
Joe Stapleton canceled again. Unbelievable. All right,
Joe's performance
8-5.
is only slightly worse than Freitez's. Wooly,
Someone
I'm
who
sure you've said it
genuinely
before.
couldn't speak English, I would not mock. Someone pretending to not
Absolutely.
be able to speak English, I would
Absolutely.
mock.
So Wooly asks, what is in the Slam package for first? Just to recap what they are playing for. Obviously, you can see the prize money on screen. So the winner's going to get 15K. The Slam package is free entry to the Scoop main event, the W-Coop main event, an EPT package, and that includes accommodation and travel, as well as the buy-in for an EPT main event, and a platinum pass to the next PSPC. Total value in the region of $55,000. Plus, should say the other big added value in this event, in all of the Big 20 Rewind events, are the tickets we're giving away to the Big 20 finale. That $55, $5 million guaranteed with $500K in added value. The final 200 finishes in this $11 MTT all got Big 20 finale tickets. And ace high, still good on a king high flop.
Yep, I was indicating I do like the aggressive action here from Ace-4. I do think that we are sort of wandering into the territory where he can just be shipping this pre and just completely denying any equity. But of course, raising and then playing this against short stacks is going to be fine too. Ace-4 suited is a nice playable hand. You're probably more likely to want to shove some offsuit Ace-X as opposed to the suited ones because they play much better. So there might even be some opportunity just to open with the suited ones just purely because they're going to play nicer. Just becomes difficult if your opponents are 3-betting really aggressively because then you will be forced to fold the best hand once in a while. In the context of a final table, however, probably not as often, right? People are going to be a lot tighter and they're not going to be as willing just to pump in, king, queen or something.
You're forgetting one thing, Nick.
What's that?
They were giving the opportunity for the 2001 stop and go.
So we
Absolutely.
have got, or rather we did have two players with the Lashifra. It was Mr. Mo who opened to 880, and the shove from Ivan Master is for 2.8 million with nines.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot more to call, but he's not going to be doing this light, so A6 is probably going to be absolutely crushed here in most circumstances. Does get away.
Very proud. Proud
Very
of Mr.
nice.
Mo.
You don't want to be that guy who calls a raise out of position with A6 offsuit, loses $115 million and dies. Although, as we established, Joe, he didn't call a raise because it was limp pre and he was actually on the button. So disappointing. I love using that meme.
Well, believe it or not, memes are factually inaccurate sometimes.
What? No.
Turns out white text over a photo is not always the truth.
But I thought that you could only actually make one of those if you had it fact-checked, if you actually had a reputable source of information.
That's just what George Soros would have you believe.
Oh.
All right, take it down.
Mr. Mo sitting very comfortably on 12 million right now. Chinaldo sitting in second place, but Mr. Mo has a 2-to-1 chip advantage. And Borth all in with King 10. Ivan's got Ace-Jack.
Ooh.
Gets Ace-Jack to fold. All right. I mean, this is an extremely strong play, really. Like, I kind of don't blame Ace-Jack for getting away there. I think a lot of people wouldn't just be shipping the old King 10 there on this final with all these pay jumps. But works, and very effectively gets the better hand to fold there. Yeah, that feels good. That one feels good.
So,
yep.
Duxo all in with Ace-8. Ivan with King 7 of strawberries.
I mean, Nick, I understand the Ace-Jack fold. I understand you're going to be up against, it's such a strong play that you are going to be dominated there a fair amount of the time. Is there something to be said about, though, when you pick up Ace-Jack in that spot and being like, I might not get a better hand than this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm honestly not even sure, especially in the context of ICM. I'm not honestly not even sure if that is meant to be a call, but I do. But it is. You got like 10 big blinds, so you really are going to be bleeding pretty quickly. You should be ahead of some of the hands that shove there, I guess. It's so player dependent, really, at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely one for review, because I'm really not sure. If you think that guy is shipping as weak as King 10 there, I think it's always a call. But if he's literally only has like Jacks plus and then, Ace Queen, Ace King or something like that, then probably you do get away.
King 9 suited shove from Borth gets folds from everyone, including Duxo, who had the spraggy there. Ace 10 all in.
I think this one's going to get all the way around.
Yeah.
Nearly up to 7 mil. Does he get there? Almost.
That's the thing. I mean, you just nick those blinds, Nick, and it's such a significant percentage increase to your stack.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as somebody that plays short stack games, I think people really, really, really underestimate how much you lose by being too tight and how much you gain by being very aggressive. And certainly in tournaments like this, where the average is so small, this is extremely pronounced,
Well,
and King 9 suited is going to
move all in. Yeah, Duxo down to 4 big blinds, now playing around 5 big blinds. Another opportunity, though, Ace-Jack.
Yep.
And another big ace over there, guys, for both.
Oh, yeah, Borth in the small blind with the dominated hand, Ace-10.
Yeah, this is a tricky one for sure. I think he's only got Ivan behind him here, so... Yeah, I mean, he's only got Ivan behind him, so it's not like if he ships it in here, he's going to get like snapped off by the chip leader. So I think Ace-10 probably might be a call in this spot.
And Ace-Jack is holding. No domination rotation. Jack on the river for good measure. And the situation is almost reversed. Duxo now playing 5.5 million. Borth down to 3.7 million. Ivan officially the shortest stack with 3.5. And Borth continuing to play aggressively. Oh,
yep,
King.
Messing around.
Borth
King 7 should be opening here. Yeah, King 7 suited is almost certainly a raise here, especially as the chip leader. It just is a hand that has a lot of good playability. You're going to take down the blinds loads. Obviously, you don't want your opponent to have kings on the button, of course, but what's the play? What's the play?
Which would be virtually impossible if blockers were real, but luckily they are not.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. We previously saw Ivan Master flatting with aces, if I'm not mistaken, opting for the shove with the kings in this scenario, even though I think he's a bit deeper as well, if I remember right. But obviously ace is a little bit less vulnerable to sickness than kings.
9-5 versus 7-5. Chinaldo versus Mr. Mo. And a 9-high flop. Chinaldo 4-1 favorite. Bets 400,000.
Yep, I'm always floating here with the gut shot. You're going to get your opponent to slow down a bunch. They will stab that board and then just give up check fold turns so often. In this case, he slows down, but I don't think he's slowing down necessarily to fold. He still has a pretty strong hand, but there's so much pressure on you on this final table to reserve chips. Oh yeah, that's a really interesting run out too, because you can rep the 6 here pretty hard if you're Mr. Mo. I mean,
Mo.
There is definitely a good reason just to go ahead and fire. I think if I was going to fire, I'd put them all in though. I don't know if this is strong enough. He's betting a size where he can still get missed draws to fold, like a club draw or a straight draw.
Still be a huge hero call with just a 9.
Yeah, I
mean,
just think that in the
call.
context. Yeah,
and that is the first change we've seen in the chip lead at this final table. Chinaldo now in the #1 spot with 8 million. Mr. Mo on 7 million.
You got to put a man to a decision for all of his chips, or whatever that quote is.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate the fact he's picked a good spot to continue, but I think that with SPR being what it was, he has less than pot behind. And I think if you did have a 6 or you did have like an ace for some inexplicable reason, that doesn't really make any sense that he would have that. But if you really want to try and rep something there, I think you go for all of it. You're pretty much only going to get a flush draw to fold there or a missed straight draw, but you are blocking some of the missed straight draws as well. So it's not going to be in his range as often when you've got a 7 and a 5. So interesting spot, but GG with the call.
Yeah. Chinaldo 9 had a 9. Made the call and now has the chip lead. Meanwhile, this is Ivan versus Duxo, and it is Broadway for Ivan. Duxo with top pair.
This is sick. This is sick. Somebody's going to lose a big pot here, and I don't think it's the guy who flopped the nuts.
Club on the turn for a swap.
Yeah, exactly. Show me some green here on the turn, dealer.
Sweaty. King of clubs, though, in Ivan's hand as well. That's going to make it tricky to find the runner.
Instead.
Anytime a 7 is dealt, we're using that graphic from now on, guys. That's it.
Well, Duxo officially drawing dead and does not want Barry Greenstein to make an appearance.
What a dream. What a dream.
Oh, this is dreamy. You got the 10 of diamonds too, so you're not too concerned about him finding a chop or finding another diamond here, or even having the draw in the first place. Probably is a better way to describe that. How do I get all the chips? I mean, if you flat, there's gonna be less than pot behind.
Okay.
Oh my lord. Yeah, I'm not a fan of flatting and then leading river, but I think probably the shove is going to find you too many folds. Just looks very, very, very strong on its own.
Look at these stacks and look at these hands.
Oh, wow. Chinaldo opening with the jacks. The shove from Borth with ace-queen. Strap in. We're going to be off to the races. Let's flip that coin. Jacks are holding. Gut shot, though, for Borth. Doesn't get there. And Chinaldo eliminates Borth. The Finnish player goes out in 5th place. And that means Chinaldo now has 12.8 million. Chinaldo, decisive chip leader with 4-way action now.
The gift shop is officially out of Borth license plates.
Duxo all in. And Duxo dead on the turn. Another elimination by Chinaldo. Another KO. Duxo cashing out for $5,279. 3-way action now. And Chinaldo, the Irish player who came 15th in the Micro Millions main event earlier this year, closing in on victory.
Micro stakes, let's go.
Let's go micro stakes. Yeah, I mean, if Chanello can pull this off, that would be quite the Cinderella story. I dig that. We like those here on this channel, don't we?
Chanelderella.
So what are we playing for now? 7.5k guaranteed by all three players. A not insignificant, but standard pay jump between third and second. But remember, the gap between second and first is ridiculous. It's not just 5k. It's that slam package that's worth nearly the better part of $60,000, right? Your W Coop entry for next year, your Scoop entry for next year, an EPT package, a Platinum Pass. It's huge.
Untold riches.
That is absolutely sick.
Who knows? Who knows what that could lead to?
Riches. I mean, guys, I'm just going to say it. I don't think we're going to see any deals on this final table. But if there was a deal, how would that go down, do you guys think?
I would sell off pieces of, like, swap pieces in the events with everybody.
Right, right. That's what I was thinking. You go, all right, check this out. Just give me the package.
I mean,
I'll give you 5K.
Here's the thing, just to be clear, my understanding is there's no set aside because there's already something to play for. You can't chop the slam package. It goes to the winner. So
yeah,
they're not even going to kind of like, you know, have any opportunity to come up with any sort of deal. It won't allow it.
Yeah, I know. That's what me and Joe are saying. You just kind of go, okay, let's pause for a sec. You just agree to do whatever with the money, and then you go, okay, I'll give you 30% of, you know, all my tickets or something like that. That could be kind of interesting. That would be a cool story to follow as well.
You could do something like that, but just so to be clear, we don't recommend anyone actually attempt something like this because it's very hard to enforce and very hard to make sure. You know, when we advertise deals on these events and on the EPT, they're done officially, so that you know the deals are done, are
quite right,
binding. But in a perfect world, we could be like, hey, guys, like let's all just have a 33% sweat of each other for the next year.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for clarifying that, Joe. He's right. Yeah, but you know, I was thinking more just hypothetically, you know, how it would be, what kind of a deal you could do, like if we were all sitting around a real table per se.
Yeah.
A6 of diamonds, obviously a hand you're going to want to play. King Jack, debatably, could just be a ship here as well. I mean, you're definitely going to, at this stack depth, I think probably shipping this would be fine. And I think you are going to get a fold from even a hand even as strong as A6 suited once in a while. There it is. And part of the reason why this ship is going to be probably acceptable at this point is that you will get hands as strong as A6 suited to actually fold. You know, when you can get pretty considerably strong medium strength hands to fold, you should probably be putting some chips in the middle because you're going to pick up a lot in dead money.
I mean, Nick, if you find a call here with A6 of diamonds and you see King Jack, are you like fist pump happy about it, or?
Well, that's kind of my point, right? Like, you know, there's not that many hands that you're going to be over the moon to see here, right? It's going to be like most pairs, and obviously sixes plus suck for you. It's going to be a bunch of dominating aces and stuff like that. I mean, it's like the what do they call it? The halo effect in poker or whatever, right? You need a stronger hand to call with than you shove with, just because you do have that sort of implied strength when you're the one to make the move. And I think in that scenario, A6 for me would probably be a fold. The computer probably says call, I imagine, but it's really, really hard to gauge with ICM because it's about half your stack. So
for me, the halo effect is constantly getting fragged by strangers on the internet.
Ronaldo pairing their 5, but it's Mr. Mo who continues the aggression, betting half pot with just queen high. Chinaldo makes the call. Now we've got 4 million in the middle. Chinaldo a 4-1 favorite.
Interesting turn.
Here we go.
And now 2 pair on the river. Chinaldo going nowhere and has already made one pretty awesome hero call against Mr. Mo. Now leads the river for 1.36, and Mr. Mo left with nowhere to go.
Blind v blind. Blind v blind. Just ship it in. There it is.
Okay, Yvonne, let's go. I like this comment here from K. Masal. It says, honestly, I'd rather get second. If you win the package, you could win a tournament, think you're a good player, then tilt off your net worth, and your wife leaves you.
I mean,
solid logic there.
That's some kind of like vision of the future. Pessimism for the win.
I mean, you guys should know that it's important to visualize, but I think K-Mice, you gotta visualize higher than that, buddy.
Yeah.
Look, if you know, you know.
So reminder, guys, that this tournament started yesterday with 12,037 players. It's a freeze-out. So that's 12,037 unique entries. We are now down to the final three. For an $11 buy-in, they've all locked up $7.5 grand, but that huge prize for the winner still up for grabs. There are added prizes in every Big 20 Rewind event separate to the prize pool, which is significant enough as it is. Total prize pool in this event of nearly $118,000. And blinds has just gone up to 300,000, 600,000. So Chinaldo has a playable stack. Not super deep, but short stacks for Mr. Mo and Ivan. 10 big blinds each. A little bit more now for Mo.
Yep. Technically, 5-4 suited is a push here in a vacuum. These suited connectors do play very well as all-ins around this effective stack depth. He opts for the fold instead. Fair play. 5-4 suited actually is to shove up to 20 big blinds effective, assuming you're playing purely for chips, in fact. Doesn't mean you always want to play it that way, but certainly at that stack depth, the push is going to be preferable than a fold or a call or a raise.
Chinaldo shoves after Ivan completed with 8-7 in the small. Gets the fold. Chinaldo up now to 17 million. A lot of distance now between Chinaldo and the other two players.
Yeah, he is rocking now. Ivan folds. King 10 is a shove here as well for sure, especially as the biggest stack. No problem at all. King 8 suited is probably meant to be a call here as well. If you think your opponent is shoving the correct range, it is. Yeah, absolutely. So he gets away from it there. Jack 9 suited, definitely a push. Again, obviously a little bit prettier than the 5-4. But 5-4 suited still actually performing. When you get called 5-4 suited, actually probably performs better than Jack 9 because you're going to be dominated slightly less, and you are going to be able to crack aces slightly more often. Oh man, King Deuce. Oh, this one, that's probably a push there too. Really, really close at this very, very shallow stack depth. I think it probably is just a straight up jam.
I mean, it seems like, and it's understandable considering where the backgrounds of most of these players is that you're just kind of playing for hindsight right now, right? Like, it's really hard to make these by-the-book shoves. You run into ace-X or whatever. You feel like an idiot. We know it's easy for us to say we're not invested in this the same way these folks are. I can absolutely see folding yourself down to 3 or 4 big blinds, hoping for a little bit better spot than, like, Queen 7 suited. No, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh boy.
We might see some action here.
Oh boy.
Ace 8.
Some
Ace 8's probably going to push.
Does not shove, opens to 1.26 million with kings. Chinaldo, the chip leader, shoves with ace 8. Mr. Mo set for the double up here. Ace on the flop. And a bad beat will see the start of final table chip leader, Mr. Mo, KO'd in third place. We are heads up, and it is Chinaldo with a ludicrous chip advantage. 25 million plays, 4 million, and Chinaldo already putting the pressure on Ivan. Chinaldo from Ireland, Ivan from Venezuela, playing for around 60K right now. That's a difference of $5,000 in prize money, plus the slam package is worth 55K. This is a huge heads-up battle.
This is Ivan right now, just trying to get to the break, like in a boxing match, just hands up, trying to wait for the bell to ring.
Okay, here's an opportunity for Ivan. Jacks on the button, nines for Chinaldo. Should be able to get a double up here. Shoves, gets called.
Oh, no. Surely not.
Jack on the turn. Wow.
Oh, wow.
What a setup. What a setup.
That is insane. Ace-9, definitely an easy push here. No, what Joe says is true, but you know, the flip side of that is if you think everyone is going to be playing like that. Sorry, guys, carry on.
Yeah, we've reached the break somehow. It was nearly over. That 9 on the flop would have sealed the deal. But no, instead, the jack on the turn gave Ivan the double up. Still a huge chip disparity. 22 million for Chinaldo, 7.9 million for Ivan Master X. The heads-up battle will continue in around 5 minutes' time. But it's an opportunity for the three of us to look ahead at the rest of this week because the Big 20 Rewind continues. And it continues tomorrow with an event celebrating the year 2002, celebrating the birth of WCoop. So that is going to be a recreation of the first ever WCoop main event, which is a 1K buy-in with a 250K guarantee. In addition, for the prize money, they're also going to be playing for a luxury round-the-world trip. That's the added prize for the winner. 2003 will be the year of Moneymaker. You may be aware that Chris Moneymaker qualified for the 03 World Series via an $86 satellite on Stars. So this is going to be an $86 MTT. The prize is going to be a 20th anniversary PokerStars passport. Effectively, 10K in buy-ins, the equivalent of a World Series of Poker main event buy-in. 10K in buy-ins for PokerStars live events in 2022. 2004. The year of the EPT. Well, that's going to be an EPT package for the winner. That is a 1K buy-in, so that's a little on the pricier side. But if you check out the schedule, you'll see that we've got buy-ins to suit all bankrolls. There is the $30 Turbo Takedown coming up, which has a car as the first prize. Some really exciting stuff. And what I love, Joe, is that in addition to these tournaments themed around the specific year, we're also theming other stuff around these years. And on this week's podcast, we are going to be celebrating the early years of Stars, the birth of the site in 2001 with Terence Chan, one of the original employees, and the birth of the EPT with Luca Pagano, who made the final table of the first ever EPT main event, and Colin Murray, the original voice of the European Poker Tour.
Yeah, really, really excited to talk to Colin Murray. Don't know much about the guy. I do find his voice very charming off those old broadcasts. Obviously, we kind of goof on him a little bit, but to be fair to him, no one was really doing that, right? Like, of course, we've all get to become better poker commentators over the years, and some people just had to be the first out there doing it. So very excited to talk to him, especially because he's, like, kind of a big deal now, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And next week, when we get into around the kind of 2010, 2011, 2014 era, we're going to talk big game. We're going to talk Shark Cage. We've got some great guests planned for next week's podcast as well. Nick, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this full schedule. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at some of the prizes that are up for grabs here. But we're talking about luxury watches for the three winners of the event celebrating Scoop. We're talking about a trip to Vegas. We're talking about a trip to the Monte Carlo Grand Prix. I mean, there is absurd value. I think my favorite might be you get to go to a Foo Fighters concert if you win the 2020 event, which is the year of the arena. That is a high roller event. That is a 5K. Should point out there is another opportunity to win a Platinum Pass. When it comes to 2019, that really was the year of the PSPC. So on that day, it's going to be a $25 mini PSPC, and that is going to have a Platinum Pass for the winner. And that is one of the events we're going to be streaming. The mini PSPC, that 5K high roller, will stream those final tables before we hit the Big 20 finale. That starts on Sunday the 5th of December. It concludes on Tuesday the 7th of December. We will stream the final day of that event. $55 buy-in, $5 million guarantee. But I keep saying, Nick, to me the guarantee doesn't really tell the full story, because there's also $500,000 in added value, in bounties and ticket prizes. So that to me is the real advert for the finale.
Yeah, that's really exciting for me to see as well because, historically PokerStars we've had big guarantees, we've had huge tournaments and stuff like that, but we also had lots of really cool little extra perks that we've added to tournaments and stuff like that. Like I remember years where they gave away Lamborghinis when you won Sunday Million specials and stuff like that. So seeing them go in this direction again is just super exciting because I think poker and trying to become a professional poker player, or at least somebody that wins at poker, is also about life experience and having the freedom to go and do these kinds of cool things and have these cool experiences alongside, playing a game that we love. So I'm super, super pumped about that. I, in fact, didn't know about the Foo Fighters concert. I'm assuming my tickets are in the mail. That's great. Thank you so much, guys.
You could just take down that 5K.
A Foo Fighters concert with Stapes.
Exactly.
Joe, we're not adding you to any of these prizes. We want people to play these
That's
events.
a mistake.
By the way, friendship is tragic. I guarantee you that the luxury watches are not going to be Hublots, or Hublots as I like to call them.
By the way, just to talk about this, considering anything could happen at any moment, one double up here from Yvonne Master, and they flip-flop. So, this is like 2 or 3 hands from being away, no matter who is going to win it.
Yep, absolutely.
So the heads-up battle resumes post-break. I mean, bear in mind that we're playing with a 20-minute clock, and I know they could play shallow. I don't think we're going to see another break in this. I do think that probably we're going to have a conclusion within the next hour.
Yeah, I mean, with the speed that online poker plays, we certainly should see enough hands here to crown a winner. King 4 suited, just an easy push here at this stack depth, of course. There it is. A Foo Fighters concert with Stapes. With the whole gang, I mean, you want the real PokerStars experience. It should be the 3 of us for sure. It's already been agreed. That's fine, guys. Thank you.
When Dave Grohl specifically recognizes me in the crowd and invites us up on stage, you'll be very happy that you went to the Foo Fighters concert with Stapes.
I like the flat from 10-8 suited here. I think this is totally, totally cool. To limp here pre-flop. Obviously a pretty straightforward c-bet on an ace-high board. Your opponent is going to shove pretty much all of his ace-x combos and many of his king-x combos here as well at this stack depth as well. King-6 probably was meant to be a ship over a limp. And, of course, it would have worked this time. Nice turn for 8s and a clubs here, making that flush. The 6 of clubs in Chinaldo's hand, though. I like the float from King High, though, on this texture as well. For the same reason why Chinaldo won't have that many ace-x combos, Ivan Masters shouldn't have too many ace-x combos either because he would have shipped those pre-flop in many situations. So the float here will probably merit you lots of fold checks on turns or slowdowns on turns where you can bluff rivers, etc. I think I like a check here from Queen 7. Sorry, Joe.
Foo Fighters big game story. But I'm afraid as soon as I start telling it, it's all gonna pop off here.
This is not the final table to launch into lengthy anecdotes.
No.
Pumplex Jedi, I can confirm that story is 100% accurate. There was indeed a raffle for a ride in a Ferrari. And yes, Victoria Corin Mitchell thought it was a ride on a ferry. And yes, the person who won that prize did already own a Ferrari and wasn't interested in going on a ride with someone else.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
It was the owner of the Ferrari.
I can't remember if it was a tournament. It might have just been something in the sort of rewards store. But I remember James got himself a PokerStars Citizen watch, I think it was, and it had the little red spade on it, or maybe the hands had red spades or something like that. It was pretty swanky. That was nice.
Not me.
No. James McKenzie, OP Poker James, I should say. There you go. Queen 7, definitely a call here for sure. And on the paired river, unless you're running into like trip 8s here, which is obviously pretty unlucky, I think you're doing pretty well. You're going to have the best hand here really often with Queen 7. Chinaldo hasn't been afraid to show some aggression, though. The spade might kind of convince him to go ahead and pump this river super hard. but the check is pretty reasonable as well. I don't think he's
Ooh,
really
look at
repping the
this.
spades the way he played his hand, though. So, reasonable.
Yeah, and Ivan starting to close the gap a little bit. Actually closing the gap significantly when you consider where this heads-up battle started.
Yep, absolutely. 8-4 spades probably is meant to be a min raise here pre-flop. If you're playing the old charts. He opts for the limp instead. Probably the easiest board to see bet in the world, though. Ace 10 7 rainbow, you're going to get millions of folds. Chanel just gets out of the way. Easy game. Okay, Queen Jack is a limp here, theoretically. MTT players usually prefer to raise in these situations, though. Like, I don't say that to be harsh, but obviously MTT players usually not playing as much heads up, generally speaking. So not remembering these ones as well as they would remember, for example, ranges, UTG, middle position, button, etc. Opts for the limp, though. Queen Jack suited definitely is a nice limp here because it's a hand that you want to play in position really often. The reason why such a strong hand is a limp is because you restrict your opponent from doing a lot of things which can push you out of the pot where you're going to have tons of equity. So if you're min-raising hands like Queen Jack suited here and your opponent is 3-betting you really aggressively, you're not going to get an opportunity to play as many hands in position, and certainly not some of these hands that have huge opportunity to stack your opponents. King 10 suited falls in the same category as well.
Queen 5 versus Jack 5. And Ivan completes.
Okay.
Pair
there
on
you
the
go.
flop for Chinaldo. Domination rotation.
Yeah, this is a really tricky one. When you're playing heads up, Queen 5 is just going to be the best hand a lot. I think we're at a stack depth where if Ivan does decide to bet, I actually prefer the check with second pair in this scenario for this exact reason. No, you don't want to be forced out of the pot by a flush draw or a straight draw. Jack 5 can definitely flat, obviously, but I think the check raise when you're a little bit on the deeper side here is going to win you some more chips. It looks like he's picked a great time to go for the flat, though, because Ivan Master probably will get away with second pair, get away from second pair if there is a check raise, depending on his interpretation of the check raise range.
Ivan has done such a good job of chipping away at Chinaldo's chip lead, and it's all about to go back in Chinaldo's direction. The turn raised to 3.6 million.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this turn bet
here
at all, to be honest. You have to, don't you? But like that's exactly why you have to give up so often to a check raise on the flop when you've got second pair, and they could just have a flush draw, they could just have a straight draw, and that means you're not realizing the equity of your 5. I don't see any value in continuing on that turn at all because your opponent is just going to have you beat. There's a lot of situations where they'll have like 6-7 without the diamonds where they flatted the flop to hit a gut shot with 2 overs to second pair, and then you're just barreling off into value. So that definitely a very costly hand. I think the check on the flop is basically how you want to go every time, and then definitely slow down the turn when they've continued, because you're just gonna you can just get to the river and just have the best hand. I don't think there's any reason to protect it at that point necessarily, because I don't think your opponent is going to want to have, they don't just always have a flush draw when they call, and that scenario is what I'm getting at.
Well, I think it's worth just reminding everyone of the stakes here as Chinaldo opens up the 2-1 chip advantage over Ivan Master X. We are talking about a slam package for the winner in addition to $15,000 from the prize pool. So this is an added value prize. This is buy-in to the Scoop and WCOOP main events. But remember, we are expecting live events to return in 2022. So it includes an EPT package, also a platinum pass to the next PSPC. Now, I'm acutely aware of the fact that PSPC has been postponed twice due to the pandemic, but I think we can expect it to happen relatively soon. So I'm sure an announcement will come shortly, and we'll have a better idea. But it is going to happen eventually, right? So the Platinum Pass still has value. 25k in value, plus, of course, again, travel and expenses.
Ace 5 definitely a push here.
Soon, like am I going to have time to book my tickets?
Yeah, I mean, not being funny, I mean, if you think about it, you apply logic, the announcement would need to be, you'd need enough time to be awarding more Platinum Passes, right? So it's not going to be like next month.
Okay. Because it's Christmas next month. I have tons of plans already.
Okay, 8-6 suited. I like a limp here. There it is.
Ivan
Now you could
pairing that 8.
You can probably just check the 8 here, but there's also a lot of reasons why just betting is fine as well. Like, your opponent shouldn't really have an ace too often, so you're kind of protecting your hand. I think an 8's high enough where a check is also acceptable, but it just simplifies if you just bet flop 2 when you know your opponent is capped and isn't going to have that many ace-x combos in their range once you've limped and they've checked behind.
So
Queen might just pump it here. There it is.
King Jack
KJ.
10-6.
I'm interested to see what he does here. I think the limp is probably how you want to go. At this stack depth, if you're playing against a perfect opponent heads up, King Jack would be a limp versus a shove. But for the most part, King Jack off plays very similarly to, Queen Jack suited, King 10 suited, like I was making reference to earlier. So for the same reason, you want to be limping here just to play it in position, and you're gonna find yourself where you're dominating your opponent quite often here with a hand like King Jack off, because they're forced to play their hand from out of position once you've limped, and then they've checked, of course, right? So they have all the kinds of hands that you would like them to have called with pre-flop had you have raised by limping. Obviously a pretty straightforward bet here, 10-6 spades, only the back door. I think the size that he uses here is probably too much to want to continue with the back door. Interestingly enough, though, guys, if he actually bets something like 1/4 pot here, with some backdoor straight draws and flush draws, 10-6 of spades should actually be floating there, primarily to bluff when they slow down on the turn, etc. But it is really, really fascinating how the bet sizing there affects your continue range. And I think people are really shocked at how wide you can call versus the 1/4 pot size. Six, 7. I like this as a raise, like a raise bluff situation. I like that a lot. Leonardo says he min bet. No, I know he min bet, but in relation to the pot, it was still half pot, wasn't it? Because he limps and there's 2 big blinds. So regardless of whether or not it was a min bet, what I'm saying is that in situations where the pot is larger and he can actually make it 1/4, then to continue with 10-6 of spades would actually be justified.
So Ace Jack all in gets the fold. Oh, Jacks now for Chinaldo, but Ivan doesn't really have.
Yeah.
And 8 deuce offsuit.
You can't bet smaller.
Just gives Chinaldo
Can't bet smaller than 1 big blind. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chasey. I'm making reference to situations where the pot is min raise pre or something like that.
King Jack suited
Ace
completes. Ace 4 for Ivan. Shoves.
Yep, like the push.
And gets called. King high flop. And it holds, and it is over. We have our winner. Chinaldo 9 takes down the first Big 20 Rewind event. Chinaldo 9, a micro-stakes player from the Republic of Ireland whose previous best result was $1,500 in a Micro Millions event, ships $15,000 in cash, plus the Slam package. Scoot main event buy-in, WCoot main event buy-in, EPT package, and the Platinum Pass. By my calculations, that is roughly a 70K payday for this micro stakes player. Nick, we said coming in we thought this was going to be over pretty quickly. We knew that they were short, but considering what was on the line, there was that prospect that they might not play too aggressively. They went for it, and it's over in what? Just over an hour.
Yeah, they absolutely got through it. We did see a couple of sick hands as well, but even some of the medium stacks who theoretically kind of the ICM pressure is on them a little bit more, were going for it like right out of the gate, including Chinaldo. We still saw Chinaldo make some pretty bold all-ins, especially even when he had like 2 or 3 very short stacks, like a couple big blind stacks behind him. So paid off for him in this situation. That aggression, he managed to pick up a bunch of chips, and yeah, congrats to him. Fantastic.
So Joe, next week, don't expect a repeat of this because it will be more like one of our traditional Monday night streams. So on Sunday, it's the Big 20 Rewind 2006. Year of the Sunday Million, because that's the year the Sunday Million started. So for 1 week only, the Sunday Million is going to go back to being $215. We'll still have a $1 million guarantee. It will also have an added prize of tickets to a sporting event held on a Sunday. Details, I guess, TBC. But I imagine, Joe, they'll come back with a few tables, probably around 100 players, and we'll watch it play down to winner as usual. But with that added spice, with that added sauce of it being a Big 20 Rewind event and that extra prize for the champ.
I love the extra prize. It's all I'm interested in for this entire series because, you know, a lot of poker players, they don't really do anything with their money, right? They don't, like, take trips around the world. They use money they win in poker tournaments or go to sporting events. They use the money that they win to go play more poker tournaments. So I'm really loving the fact that there's a prize associated that they can't cash in for more poker.
Yeah.
I love the added value.
Me too.
Also, I would say you might want to check out the PokerStars blog where there is a full summary of all the Big 20 Rewind events. Check out what's happening with 2007 and how that might possibly tie in to next week's stream. I will say no more. Do your homework and make sure you join us here next week. We are going to be recording the podcast on Wednesday. It'll be out on Thursday, featuring Terrence Chan, one of the original PokerStars employees, Colin Murray, Luca Pagano. We're going to be talking about the early years of stars this week. Nick, you get to enjoy Vegas. You get to rail Ramon Kalilas in person. The rest of us, I'm sure, are going to be following the live updates on the internet or watching the stream. Good luck to Ramon, looking to make the final table of the 10K World Series of Poker main event today. Good luck. We'll be following you every step of the way. But that's us done for today. It was brief, but it was meaningful. There will be more next Monday. Until then, from Nick Walsh, Joe Stapleton, and me, James Hartigan, is good night from the PokerStars Arena.